Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And there it is. Paramount is launching a hostile takeover for Warner Brothers to finish what we started, according to David Ellison. So that sounds very Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens, right? Finish what we started. Yeah, so this was rumored to have been in the works as of last week. Of course, Paramount Skydance not real happy with Netflix winning the bid for Warner Brothers, and now they're going to try to throw a wrench into that. And again, all of this is contingent on regulatory green lights and all that, and that could be a whole sticky issue. And I know that apparently the Trump administration threw something out there that Skydance would have to pay or Netflix would have to pay the $5 billion severance fee or whatever. Instead, they're not going to get this through.
Again, I still don't see how they can push some of this stuff because they've let Disney do stuff. They've let other companies, they let Skydance get Paramount. They let other companies do things. So I still think, they're going to do everything they could to stop it, but I don't think necessarily it's on the up and up to do that. But it might not matter because they're going directly to the board with this bid, which I guess is not much different than the original bid they had on the 4th, but it was a better bid than what Netflix was offering, yet they picked Netflix.
Yeah, so let's talk about this because I mean the regulatory thing is really interesting because I mean again Trump is friends with the Ellisons. I'm sure that will definitely factor into it the way things are going now. But beyond that, I think there's less of a conflict of interest with Netflix because they don't want the TV stuff. And Paramount already has the TV stuff.
Well, yeah, Paramount wants the TV stuff and Netflix doesn't, but they're offering more money. But they're offering more money, but then they also want more. So yeah. I don't know how that balances out when you consider that. But with Netflix, they were going to not take the TV stuff and then do that Warner Brothers or Discovery Global. And Discovery Global, I think, is what Warner Brothers wanted to do, which is why they picked Netflix because they wanted a separate company because they've been talking about this for months. So I think one of the reasons that Zaslav turned it down was because I think he wants to spin off Discovery into its own thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what he wants. It matters what the shareholders want, which is why they're going after the shareholders.
Right. So that's what they're doing. They're actually doing an end run. They're appealing to the shareholders, and they're going to be like, look, you're going to get more bang for your buck if you go with us. And it's going to be really interesting because I'm sitting here thinking like left-wing Hollywood, man, talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, you have Netflix potentially buying Warner Brothers, which will absolutely positively impact theatrical releases, will probably cut down on the amount of content being produced, probably slash the budgets on a lot of that content. And then the other hand, you've got Paramount, which is all for theatrical releases, but it's run by Trump's besties and the Saudis.
And now the Saudis, yes.
And the Saudis.
They're going to limit. We already know Paramount said they're going to go for what's going to have a mass appeal. And then if the Saudis are throwing in money, it's going to be a lot of things that aren't extremely far left. Which Hollywood's losing their shit there. Because remember, they were mad because they're all these uncanceled men are getting jobs at Paramount. It's like, well, grab your ass because if they get Warner Brothers.
If they get Warner Brothers, all those DC Comics characters that have been turned gay all of a sudden in the last couple of years, they're totally going to straighten them out. I guarantee it. That's just how. That's why they're all flipping out about EA, and we'll talk a little bit more about EA too, because apparently at one point Netflix was going to buy EA, and then before going after Warner Brothers, but they're all freaking out about that because the Saudis have it, and The Sims has been very LGBTQ plus friendly for a long time, and they're like, oh my God, they're going to come in and change everything. I don't know if that's going to happen. But, Paramount, we did a video yesterday and they flat said we are going middle of the road apolitical content. Mm-hmm. And if they get a hold of Warner Brothers, honestly, I would say for a couple of reasons, that's probably the best case scenario because a lot of us know what's going to happen if Netflix gets a hold of it, but we'll see. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You will get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV. In fact, I have an episode coming later tonight, one that didn't make the cut for the YouTube channel. So there we go. This is coming from CNBC. Paramount Skydance launches hostile bid for Warner Brothers to finish what we started, CEO Ellison tells CNBC. So they're going to go straight to the shareholders with an all-cash $30 a share offer. Netflix won the bidding war for the film studio on HBO Max, but doesn't plan to buy Warner Brothers TV networks. Paramount has repeatedly contended keeping Warner Brothers Discovery whole was in the best interest of shareholders. Maybe. I think they want it so they can shut down CNN or turn it into the next Fox News.
I don't know if they're going to do that. I mean, they're going to have to get rid of CNN. If Paramount gets it, then
they have CBS.
They're going to have to. You can't have more than one, so they're going to have to sell it or do something with it.
Well, that's what happened with Disney. You know, Disney bought Fox, and people were confused as to how that worked. I'm like, no, they bought 20th Century Fox and Fox Television, but they had to spin Fox News off into its own thing. They weren't allowed to have Fox News too because they already had ABC News. So those are the rules until they, change the rules because who the hell knows what's going on any given day, right? So they're launching a hostile bid to buy Warner Brothers after it lost out to Netflix in a months-long bidding war for the legacy assets. God, that's all this stuff is now, right? It's not art. It's just legacy assets.
It's legacy. It's all assets, yes. And that's the problem Hollywood has. They don't like that either.
Paramount's going to go straight to the shareholders with an all-cash $30 per share offer. That's the same bid Warner Brothers rejected last week and equates to an enterprise value of $108.4 billion. So that's more. I think it was 83 was what Netflix was offering, but that's not for the television stuff. The offer is backstopped with equity financing from the Ellison family and the private equity firm Redbird Capital, as well as a $54 billion debt commitment from Bank of America, Citi, and Apollo Global Management. A portion of the equity financing comes from outside Middle Eastern financing partners, including Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund,
right?
Abu Dhabi's, I can't pronounce this, Limad Holdings Company, and Qatar Investment Authority. They're buying everything.
And you're getting Jared Kushner involved in it too.
Yeah. So, look, I'm going to be honest here. Regardless of what your politics are, Trump has a vested interest in getting, having the Ellisons wind up with Paramount or with, having Warner Brothers go to Paramount. He does, because Jared Kushner is his son-in-law. He's very chummy with the Ellisons, and he's been pretty chummy with the Saudis. Yes. So just being real. So he might even throw a wrench because there was talk that it was going to have a hard time going through the regulatory process, and that there was probably going to be a $5 billion kill fee or something, that they would have an easier time of getting Netflix through. And I have to wonder if on the government's end, they won't be like, yeah, no, that's not what we want.
Yeah, but again, like I said, I think that's overstepping. But that's, because they let Disney do stuff before and other companies do it. And it's just like, but this one can't,
Disney was hard. Disney was hard to get through, too. I don't think people were like, there was a lot. It took 2 years or something like that?
Well, I think because, it was, Trump in office then, I believe. That's why it went through. Because I think if it had been a Democrat, they wouldn't have allowed it to go through.
Well, I remember Elizabeth Warren. She was freaking out about that back then. But again, there are usually... It's 2025, so who the hell knows? But there are usually rules in place, like you cannot have a whole bunch of news networks. You cannot have So I'm thinking, even if it does go through, something's going to have to happen to CNN. I don't think they're going to let that one, or it's got to be folded into CBS News or something. Anyway, they said those partners have agreed to forego any governance rights, including board seats, as part of their non-voting equity investment. According to Paramount's filing, modifications allow the deal to be outside the U.S. of the Committee on Foreign Investments.
Yeah, it's more complicated now because you're throwing in foreign. But Netflix, the other side of it, they are going to all different banks. Like they're having to finance like a bunch of their offer from it was Wells Fargo and 2 or 3 other banks. I think they were trying to use to get the money to finance them buying it.
Well, okay, so Netflix is actually laden with debt. Like they make a lot of money, but they spend a lot of money too.
Well, so is Warner Brothers Discovery. And the difference was with the Discovery Global, I think they were spending the debt off into other company, but Paramount says they'll pay the debt. They'll take the debt and they'll pay it.
Well, Saudis have money. I mean, the Saudis, they've got ridiculous money. And so what they're doing, my understanding is they know that the well is literally going to run dry one of these days. So they're just investing in all these entertainment companies and stuff right now. They're, all like WWE and what else they buy? EA. We'll talk more about that because apparently Netflix is going to buy that and they sniped that too. So it's like they're just buying everything. And this is why people in Hollywood are freaking out because I hate to break it to you, but your values are not exactly in sync with, Saudi values, Middle Eastern values, just putting it out there. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, are people going to be concerned that we have, foreign countries owning all of our entertainment? I don't know. On Friday, Netflix announced a deal to acquire it for a combination of cash and stock valued at $27.75 per Warner Brothers Discovery share, $72 billion. I thought it was 83. Let's see.
No, I think it was 70, but then that was going to be like it's estimated value,
okay.
Or whatever, would be that much or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, we're seeing on Wall Street where cash is king. We're offering shareholders $17.6 billion more cash than the deal they currently have signed up with. We believe when they see what's currently in our offer, that's what they'll vote for. Ellison said Monday he places a value of $1 per share on the linear cable assets, which are set to trade as a separate public entity called Discovery Global in mid-2026. So let's be honest, most of those are not worth shit anymore.
Warner Bros. Discovery executives valued those assets closer to $3 per share. Of course they did. But the reality isn't that. I guarantee you the reality isn't $3.
Ellison said he told Zaslav via text message that 30 per share wasn't the company's best and final offer, suggesting the company is willing to bid higher still.
Don't overpay. Don't be Disney.
Yeah, so that was, for those of you who didn't follow the Fox drama, and I think that is still haunting Disney to this day, Disney massively overpaid for Fox. They paid it was like $73 billion or some ridiculous amount of money for Fox, and Fox was simply not worth it. And then immediately they went into Fox and they started strip mining it and started shutting things down, shutting projects down, movies down, closing divisions, closing profitable divisions. People are like, nobody shuts down a profitable business. Bullshit. Sometimes you do, because you can take that money and put it someplace else and make even more profit. So they shut down like Blue Sky Animation and all this stuff. And they had movies in the works that actually looked like they were pretty good. And then they canceled those too. And what'd they get for it? Fantastic Four, Home Alone, and Alien.
And they probably ruined Home Alone.
And X-Men eventually. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. They're saying here that Ellison said that with regulatory approval, it's like allowing number one streaming service to combine with number three streaming service is anti-competitive. Yeah, except Disney owns Hulu and ESPN Plus and Disney Plus and everything else. Now, granted, they bought Fox, which gave them the controlling interest, and they had to turn around and buy out Comcast. But they still were able to finagle it to make sure they got it. So they own two of the top ones. So I'm not really understanding why Netflix couldn't technically have Warner Brothers, well, it'd be HBO and Netflix, because Disney has multiple.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is going to come down to whether or not Trump wants to allow it. And since he has a vested interest in it, I'm telling you, he's going to do what he can do to try to throw a wrench into it.
I mean, honestly, I think Paramount would be a better choice than Netflix too.
Yes, I think for Hollywood's sake, like, I know you guys don't like the Ellisons. I know you guys don't like the Saudis very much, but for your sake, you want Paramount Skydance to get this. If it comes down to those two, they're the ones who probably will keep movies in theaters.
He already said, at least, Ellison said that they're doing 30% movies a year, guaranteed that they're going to do at least that many movies a year moving forward, because they're trying to do theatrical, where Netflix is still going to release them theatrically. But they've made it very clear that they wanted a very short window so they could put it on streaming, because that's where their focus is, saying they want to meet audiences where they're at. Unfortunately, by doing that, you're going to wipe out the whole theatrical, companies. But then the flip side is they're kind of going out on their own anyway. But Paramount, if no other reason than if you want movies to go back to the way they were, if you want them to stop, taking things that exist that are popular and changing everything about them for, modern audiences or a new audience, then you want the Paramount. You want Paramount to win.
Oh, absolutely.
Do that. I think we'll go with it. We're going to stop. They're going to go for what's going to be popular, what people want. They're going to stop this. I mean, I think art is good too, but that's why you have independence and stuff for that. But they're going to go back to, taking IPs and handling them with care and going back to what people actually expect from those IPs.
So yeah, we could go with Netflix. It could be woke and broke, for a lot of people, because Yeah, we know what they're probably going to do to the IP, and a lot of people in Hollywood are going to be out of work because they're going to consolidate into streaming. They're saying they're not, but they totally are. They don't give a shit about theaters.
I like how you said to me, you're like, oh, Netflix makes sense because now Black Snake makes a lot more sense if it's Netflix.
Black Snake, yeah, was Warner Brothers doing that just to be like, well, hey, guys, we've got Black Snake, so
I'm like, if Netflix owns it, it makes way more sense.
Yeah, we're already ahead of the curve. We wanted you guys to buy us. There you go. We haven't announced Voldemort yet. There's still time to make Voldemort a chick.
Well, Cynthia Erivo, people were saying, like, don't even.
Tilda Swinton came up.
Don't do her Storm either.
Yeah, she's terrible for Storm. I liked, what's her name from Quiet Place, the last one? Maz Kanat. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. From Us. She's really good. Anyway, Netflix, for its part, once again, championed the deal as a positive for shareholders, consumers, and the media industry as a whole when its top leadership spoke at the UBS Global Media thing on Monday.
That's all this is going down. It's at the Global Media the conference,
Co-CEO Greg Peters said they recognized the Netflix deal came as a shock, but called the Warner Brothers studio and HBO Max content complementary to Netflix's business. Yeah, kind of like Blockbuster and Redbox complemented each other, and then Netflix complemented Redbox. We saw actually the one local store they finally got rid of their Redbox machine, and they had. I mean, we're talking the movies that were in that Redbox were from a year or two ago because it's been so old. But it was so weird, and then I guess they were selling the machine too, and I was like, that'd be kind of funny to just buy a Redbox machine. I don't know what you'd do with it.
Change out your DVDs every week. It's like, which ones do you want to watch today, kids?
Yeah, right.
You have to pay for it, kids. Use your allowance money. But yeah, they have. I know in the article I had done earlier today, they had said that Ellison was, kind of trying to spin it towards Hollywood. Like, yeah, go ahead. You can find it down the bottom. I have a quote from him. He's trying to definitely win over Hollywood with his opinion, with what he was saying. He said this transaction is about building more, not cutting back, more opportunity for the industry, more choice for consumers, more value for shareholders, and more support for creative talent. He also said, we love the movies and entertainment business. We believe deeply in its future. We want to help preserve and strengthen it. Movies are one of America's greatest exports. We want to lean into that legacy, not diminish it. So he's obviously trying to win over Hollywood because Hollywood's really against Netflix getting it, but they don't like him either.
Yeah,
pick your poison, guys.
that's just it. Like Hollywood is they're gonna have a tough decision. Like, who do you root for in this case? The existential crisis of Netflix buying one of the largest studios.
I think that they're being a little ridiculous about, like, Jane Fonda and stuff. It's against democracy and freedom.
She's gonna say the same. She's gonna say the same thing.
Freedoms?
If Kushner and the Ellisons get a hold of Warner Brothers Discovery and they start, chopping away at CNN or something, she's going to say the same thing.
Here's the thing. CNN can just fold tomorrow. I don't think people will miss it too much.
No.
But, all I keep thinking of is the meme where the guy's sweating and there's two buttons. That's what.
Yes.
That's what.
That's exactly. Or the two arrows, one each leg. It's like, which, because there is no ideal scenario anymore because the money has run the fuck out. Now the money has run out. And here's the thing that people don't realize is just you will understand this if you have a couple of businesses or talk to people who have businesses, whatever. Everything is effectively on credit. Like the entire country is on credit. Mm-hmm. Everybody is borrowing. Nobody's like, it's so weird. They always press us as individuals to be like, well, make sure you're all paid up on your bills and your credit's good and you got money in the bank. Well, bitch, the government penalizes you for having money in the bank if you're a business owner.
But they let the big businesses, just have, everything's on loans and stuff, and that's okay. And they can take their debt, say, I'm going to spin off this company and then declare bankruptcy or sell it to somebody else, and then I'm debt free. We're not allowed to do that.
No, I can't make Kneon and be like, you know what, Kneon, all your debt, all my debt is your debt now, Kneon, like a clone, like I grow a clone and be here, Kneon, you can have all my debt and I'm going to go become somebody else. And that's what these companies do. But the government itself, everybody's like, well, they had to take out loans. They must have any money. I'm like, no, that's what they tell us as plebs. The reality is all these all these companies, all these countries, everybody in the world is living on debt. It's all debt. It's all make-believe.
Banks are making out like bandits.
Yeah, but then they tell us, like, well, you need to make sure you pay all your bills and stuff. It's like, no, they're going to tell you that because it's all about keeping the flow of money you know, you got to spend because we got to have it. And then, oh, it's okay. We'll just print more. Whatever. It really is wild to see these amounts of money. And it's like, it sounds insane. Like, well, how does anybody save up $70 billion? I'm like, nobody saves $70 billion. They just get it from someplace else. And it doesn't really technically exist anywhere. It's just a number in a computer. But they got the good computers, I guess. That's how it works. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.